Hey, so I've had a lot of questions about this recent string of unwinding videos. Um, kind of more on quite a few questions. It's more of a what, why, and how kind of questions. So I'm going to do my best to answer those here as we watch um, this. So, what am I doing? I'll try to put it as simply as I can. I'm basically unwinding the things that wound me up, psychologically, physically, um, emotionally. But I'm also not really doing anything because it's more of an allowing, and it's not like a method that I learned. It's more of something that I just felt safe enough to allow happen. Um, Another way of kind of looking at it is the subconscious in motion. And really, I'm just contending with myself. And on a more metaphysical level, it's kind of like a wrestling with God, and that's kind of how I experience it, because I don't know where a lot of the psychological material comes from as it comes up sometimes. And sometimes it's not always very comfortable. It's always somewhat of a struggle, as beautiful as it can be, as blissful and expanding and as easy and freeing as it is to the mind and body. At the same time, it's also anxiety ridden and fear ridden a lot of the time too, as I'm dealing with my bullshit. So I guess that's what I'm doing, if I'm doing anything at all. Kind of just setting an intention for allowing and just trying to kind of empty out and just go through it, whatever it is. As far as why I'm doing it, I actually have a chance here to show this practice that I've been at for a few years. It's been really healing for me. I get a chance to show it at its roots, which is kind of rare because I got pretty far with it, but then I kind of encountered some trauma that really threw me into this whole body fear squeeze that kind of made my asthma come back after 17 years of remission and send me into all kinds of panic attacks, hardcore anxiety, and just full-blown fear, which I couldn't do much with. So I sat in that for like 4 months, that shit went on. So now as I'm kind of working my way out of it again, wiggling my way out of it again, I have this opportunity to show it and share it. And at the same time, I really needed like an artistic outlet. So that's kind of why I'm portraying it in an artistic way. Outside of the movement itself is kind of an expression, a deep, deep expression of art, as deep as I can really find, in me anyway. But then creating it in an artistic way and on this platform, and then being able to share it, something about sharing it, whether anybody's watching it or not, something about putting it out there has really been helpful to me too. So it's all kind of tying together, and I'm enjoying doing it and sharing it at the same time. And I kind of have an idea of where it's going too. I mean, this is me revisiting a lot of old stuff that I've already done, but it's kind of coming through with a new understanding. So who knows where it'll go this time, but it's really fun to watch and experience the evolution of it. So that's kind of why I'm putting it out there in as much of a series as I can, and capturing it as much as I can and putting it out there as much as I can, because it's not always camera ready, and I'm kind of always at it throughout the day. So we'll just kind of see where it goes. As far as like for the people who like want to do this and they're wondering how I'm doing it, it's a matter, it's like, it's hard for a lot of people to do. And after doing it in groups, I really saw that, how easy it seemed to come to me and how difficult it was for some people. And I thought a lot about why that is. And it's a matter of boundaries, psychological boundaries that really kind of keep you in place. You can, your whole life is inside your whole body. So, whatever you've been through, there's a lot that can be locking you down. But a lot of it's these psychological boundaries and feelings of safety that we don't quite feel safe in our bodies. We don't feel safe in our environment. We can't quite allow it. I don't seem to have a lot of those boundaries. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that I've just done a shitload of drugs. So a shitload of boundary dissolving drugs like psychedelics. And also I just didn't have a childhood where there was a chance, also because of drug use, where there was a chance for any of those psychological boundaries to really develop. And it's fine because you need those. And that came with its own struggle, not having any like identity issues and, all that. But, you want boundaries. It's just that they become pretty tyrannical after a while, as far as I can tell. And I seem to be able to lay those boundaries down at will when I need to. And I've also had a hard time, if I've ever had a hard time doing this process, cannabis was helpful, just old school, one like little hit off a flower, burnt flower inhaled, can help initiate it. But from there, it just, as soon as I have a moment, I can just tap into it. But really it's like a self-hypnosis, just like self-hypnotizing. And, you know, at these deeper levels and more primal levels, it definitely feels that way. So it's like a hypnosis that I'm doing to myself. Again, didn't learn it, just kind of started happening. And from there, I don't have to, you know, it's like being under hypnosis you don't have to remain suggestible to any sort of dialogue. You don't have to remain suggestible to a therapist or somebody who hypnotized you, and you don't have to worry about trust issues and that stuff. You're under it yourself, and that way you can just do whatever feels right to you in that moment. And so it can kind of evolve, and, you know, it comes off the ground and starts, you know, looking and feeling like a raw form of yoga, which maybe it is, you know, and I'm just doing what feels right to me at the time that I'm doing it. So that's really, yeah, let's see if there's anything else. So yeah, with the contraction and expansion and just the energy in general, the more I can kind of get out of the way, get myself out of the way, the more the energy comes in. So it doesn't feel like I'm taxing my own energy supply. It's like a big chi flow comes in, and it all comes pretty easily. And my focus is really more behind the eyes, and, you know, me or I tend to be like, I'll be in my lower back, I'll be in my knee, I'll be in my shoulder. I'm just kind of moving all around my body. But I'm not really, kind of in it and not in it at the same time. So yeah, it's about the best I can really explain it. It's also it's the best way I can describe it for how I'm experiencing it right now, like as of this moment. It's very hard to, it's really hard to really be doing it and be practicing it consistently and then understand it and let alone articulate it around the same time. It's very hard at the same time, but it's, you know, it's still hard even within the same time frame. So that's it for now. Peace.